And then, because it tied in so closely, I got into radiation safety after that. I worked at a nuclear power plant. In fact, it was three power plants that I worked at. In Salem, New Jersey, there was 2 pressurized water reactors and 1 boiling water reactor. And a lot of that industry is similar in ways. And as General Howe said earlier, I was said to call him Beak. I hope that was okay. I hope Carol did not set me up. As said earlier, that was also an industry like this one where the consequences of your actions can be extreme. And I worked in radiation safety, and then I was involved in training, and then I got into industrial safety, and then I started working with a group called INPO, the Institute of Nuclear Power Operations, where we would study accidents and why power plant operators and others had human performance problems, why they made mistakes, basically. And so many times, the root cause was because problems with circadian rhythm. Root cause was because of too much duress or too much input into the senses. And I was saying, wow, this thing about stress makes people make mistakes. And since then, it is so true. In fact, I was just reading today and yesterday, NIOSH put out a booklet on stress, and there were some studies that was done. And recently, what was done, St. Paul Fire and Marine Insurance did extensive studies in hospitals about stress and mistakes. And listen to what they found. At one hospital, 700-bed hospital they did a study for, they started putting in stress relief programs, which wasn't just meditating, it was also about supervision, about communications, about employees getting more involved. And they had a 50% reduction in mistakes, medical mistakes. That wasn't the best one. Another one they did with 22 separate hospitals. They had 2 sets of 22 hospitals. One set of 22, they put in all the stuff I just mentioned. Malpractice suits reduced 70%. The 22 they did nothing, stayed the same. And so the same thing goes here for you and I, and for your job. Learning how to handle duress makes you make less mistakes, and making less mistakes, especially in the industries that we work in or have worked in, is something that we want to do. So let's start with the first top 4 things that we're going to deal with. Friends who talk behind your back, lost keys, someone who tells you the same story over and over again. If you're a parent, Barney. Yeah, the little things, waiting, and the journal for the American people, it's called, and it was census that were done. The leading thing that bothers us, that's an inconvenience, is waiting, having to wait. We're such a hurry up society. It's incredible. It's phenomenal, actually. Well, if I was to take all the duress, the stress that comes from tragedies in our life in general as Americans, and I was to take all the stress that comes in our life that was from setbacks, they would be so big. I don't know, some people have more tragedy than others. But the bucket that would have the duress in our life from inconveniences would fill Texas for most of us. It is what people who study this subject consistently for a living say is why we have such a high level of duress. Here's a book for you, a couple books I want you to check out if you're into this subject. One is called Toxic Success by a fellow named Dr. Pearsall. It's an excellent book, and it lets us know just what's happening here. And here's one that really is incredible as far as opening your eyes to how inconveniences, silly things, have caused us so much pain and anguish. And that's called The Progress Paradox, a very well-researched book. The subtitle to it is, How Life Keeps Getting Better, but People Keep Feeling Worse. It's an awesome book. You know, I came here a couple weeks ago to get a tour, and I was flabbergasted. I was in tears a couple times. I couldn't believe what we're able to do as humans. And I was thinking that, you know, something like that, you come to work here and with that event, that all goes away. And in fact, a person that I talked to earlier was saying, oh yeah, for you, but I'm sitting in a cubicle with some knucklehead next to me working on the computer all day. Sure, there's an awe to this. Likewise with the nuclear industry. I mean, when I first got there, I was like, whoa, look at this place. Look, and I looked at the control room, I said, this is like a Star Trek movie. But then after a while, that goes away, the awe of it does. And we let the little inconveniences bother us like crazy. It's amazing. I just was at a TGIF, and I was sitting at the bar and having a salad and a glass of wine, and their couple comes in and sits down. 5 minutes later, maybe, another couple comes in and sits down next to this couple. Now, here's couple number 1 that came in first, and here's couple number 2 that came in second. 5 minutes difference. Maitre d' the waiter comes on over and waits on couple number 2 first. Yeah. Couple number 1, especially the woman and the man, the guy was being weird too. It was 5 minutes ago. Get over here. I was like, everybody at the bar, he was like, whoa, what's up here? Here's what cracked me up so much. The waiter looked at this other couple, and they're like, all right, yeah, I guess they were first, type of look at them. So he goes on over, pulls his sheets over, and waits on the second couple, you know, the couple that came in first, couple number 1, takes their order, and then steps right over and waits on the other couple before he goes back in the kitchen. Well, here's what I was thinking. When he goes back out in that kitchen and tells the cook about couple number 1's order, you think he's going to let him know that couple number 1 isn't the most enjoyable people to be waiting on? Let me put it this way, I wouldn't want to taste couple number 1's food. Now, I know that's a little bit extreme, but let's be honest with each other. You know, we are incredibly rich in ways you can't imagine.